Hello everyone, in this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. First of all, a countdown of 81 days. Yes, 81 days to go, only 81 days left until Field Marshal Asim Munir's retirement and the arrival of a new army chief in the country. But I had told you that these 81 days, or whether it's 90 days or 80 days, will not pass easily. Every day something new will happen because the ticking clock is ticking away. I had said yesterday as well that in reality, in Field Marshal Asim Munir's mind, these are ticking like a time bomb. Until he gets the letter for a 5-year extension, every day he will do something. You saw yesterday that in Islamabad, at the Prime Minister's house, an agreement was signed between the American government and the Pakistani military. This agreement involved the rare earth minerals found in Pakistan, which were promised earlier to China and Saudi Arabia. But today they were handed over to America. America was given access to them. This entire maneuvering, this effort to maximize leverage, is all related to Field Marshal Asim Munir's retirement. He needs an extension before he retires, and if he gets it, then all these deals, like the rare earth minerals, won't seem like a bad bargain for him. But just think for a moment. If he destroys his own legacy and all these deals, whether they are in the national interest or not, are being made overnight, giving away rare earth minerals to America, and if America takes them, and Nawaz Sharif doesn't give him a 5-year extension, then what will happen to the Field Marshal? Just think about it for a moment. But as I said before, every day will not pass easily. Every day something new will happen. Yesterday we saw a deal with the FWO, the Frontier Works Organization, and not only Field Marshal Asim Munir was standing in that meeting, but also the DGMI, the Director General of Military Intelligence, was present. Think for a moment, what is the role of DGMI in this meeting? Ask yourself, what is the role of the DGISI or DGMI in the signing of this rare earth minerals deal? In other words, what is the Army Chief's role in this? If this was to happen, the Prime Minister should have been involved, and American officials should have been present. But the provincial representatives, especially from Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where the rare earth minerals are located, should have been there. But you don't see any of them. Instead, you see the DGMI and you see the Army Chief. They are posing for pictures and making the deal happen. The FWO has been put forward as the representative. The Pakistani army and the American government are making a deal with each other. This is the pressure Field Marshal is feeling, and in order to secure his extension, he is willing to go to any lengths, even if it results in pictures like the ones we saw yesterday, which will follow him for the rest of his life. These pictures will repeatedly appear in history, showcasing that this one-sided deal involving rare earth minerals, where Pakistan's stakeholders were not given a seat at the table, was actually engineered by Field Marshal Asim Munir and his associates. Anyway, this wasn't the main news for today. The first piece of news I have for you is something else, but this topic came up, so I wanted to tell you that these 81 days leading up to Field Marshal Asim Munir's retirement won't pass easily. Now, we have another piece of news. On the 18th of September, yes, on the 18th of September, Field Marshal Asim Munir is going on a trip to London. We have received this information. Now, this London trip is actually connected to his US trip. He will be in London for 3 days, and after that he wants to spend 3 or 4 days in America. Field Marshal Asim Munir's plans are finalized. His preparations have already started. Both London and the US are getting ready for his arrival. On the 18th, he is scheduled to arrive in London, and on the 21st, he will be in New York. But there is some confusion about this. Many people think that the 21st, 22nd and 23rd will be the days when Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif will be in New York for the annual UN event. This event is held every year in September, where heads of state give speeches, and Shahbaz Sharif is supposed to give a speech there. Initially, it was understood that only Shahbaz Sharif would go. However, an internal matter has arisen, and the Sharif family has strongly lobbied for a meeting with President Trump during this visit. As you know, Field Marshal Asim Munir has full control over this matter. He does not want to let his close aides interact with America. Nawaz Sharif, using his international connections, has been lobbying in Washington, D.C. to somehow arrange a photo op or a meeting with President Trump. If such a meeting happens, it is possible that an extension for Field Marshal Asim Munir might be secured. In the meeting, President Trump might be informed that whatever he offers, Pakistan will be 4 times more obedient to America if they let Asim Munir stay and appoint a new army chief. But on the other side, the army chief and his team are doing everything possible to ensure that Shahbaz Sharif goes to New York and returns empty-handed. The meeting with President Trump and American officials will be held only by Field Marshal Asim Munir. Now, when Field Marshal Asim Munir learned that the Sharif family was trying to arrange a meeting with Trump, or even a photo op in New York or Washington, D.C., he immediately tied his trip to it. So, as per our sources, this trip is not final. Field Marshal Asim Munir never planned to go, but when he learned of the Sharif family's efforts, he decided to join. He might cancel the trip at the last minute, or he might still go. But as of now, everything is being prepared for his arrival in London on the 18th and New York on the 21st. But this whole trip has to do with the Sharif family's moves to arrange a meeting with President Trump. Field Marshal Asim Munir is not willing to let anyone interfere in these matters, especially not those close to Nawaz Sharif. This is why he's decided to go to London and the US himself. The situation in Nepal has also taken a sharp turn. Nepal, just like Pakistan did a few years ago, has suddenly blocked social media. A few years ago, Chaudhry Nizamuddin had shut down social media in Pakistan, and now Nepal has followed suit. Nepal's government has blocked Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and several other major social media apps. The justification given by the Nepali government is that social media is spreading false information and propaganda, especially among the younger generation. Interestingly, this is exactly what Field Marshal Asim Munir had said, that social media is a tool of misinformation and disorder. But here's the twist. The youth of Nepal are reacting very differently compared to how Pakistanis responded. In Nepal, protests have erupted in several places, and they are widespread. In fact, 19 people have already died in clashes with the police. The youth are not just demanding an end to the social media ban. They are demanding an end to corruption, and they want their voices to be heard. In fact, they are saying they don't want social media to be shut down, but they want to be free from government repression. Unlike Pakistan, where the youth often remain silent or are repressed without much consequence, in Nepal, the youth are fighting back. The government in Nepal, just like the government here, tried to shut down the communication channel through social media, but they are facing the heat now. The youth in Nepal are pushing back against this move, and there is an increasing awareness of their rights. In Pakistan, of course, there isn't much of a reaction to such government actions. The government feels comfortable continuing its suppression because it knows the masses are either too distracted or too demoralized to react. But in Nepal, the youth are showing that they won't let it slide. In this sense, the situation in Nepal is quite different. Meanwhile, former Prime Minister Imran Khan's message from prison has been made public. His message from prison was shared, and it was his first major communication since his incarceration. In it, he criticized Field Marshal Asim Munir for the mistreatment of his family and for the harsh conditions he himself is facing. He reiterated that no matter what happens, he would never bow down. He also pointed out flaws in Pakistan's Afghan policy, emphasizing that Pakistan's deep involvement in Afghanistan's issues has contributed to instability. His message further criticized military operations, drone strikes, and the displacement of civilians, which he framed as part of a larger conspiracy to weaken his PTI government. Another major revelation recently came in the British newspaper The Telegraph. The newspaper reported that Balochistan has become the new capital of opium production. The article detailed how hundreds of hectares of land in Balochistan are now being cultivated with poppy, which is then processed into opium. The report also suggested that the Pakistani government is likely involved, given the scale and nature of the operation. This revelation is significant because it points to not just drug trafficking but also corruption at high levels, with even local authorities possibly being implicated in this illegal trade. Control over Balochistan has always been tight, especially under the leadership of Chaudhry Nizamuddin. The region, traditionally known for its political instability, now has even darker shadows hanging over it, with reports of large-scale drug production. This raises serious concerns not only about the future of the region but also about Pakistan's global standing and credibility. In another notable development, the Pakistani Navy, with assistance from China, has discovered significant natural gas reserves under the sea. This discovery could potentially open doors for foreign investments to exploit these reserves. However, the situation is a bit puzzling because the Navy's primary job is to protect Pakistan's waters, not to extract resources. It raises questions about the line between defence and business ventures, as military agencies, along with other sectors, are becoming increasingly involved in commercial activities. The boundary between national defence and corporate interests is becoming increasingly blurred, and it remains to be seen how this will unfold in the coming months. The situation in Kachar has also become increasingly dangerous. There, bandits have kidnapped 11 truck drivers and their staff, demanding the release of their associates from jail in exchange for the hostages' release. The goods transport industry is calling for military protection, fearing that the situation could escalate. However, the military is too busy handling other high-stakes matters, such as the rare earth mineral deals and maintaining internal control, to immediately respond to the crisis in Kachar. The people there are left vulnerable and exposed to criminal elements, which is deepening the sense of insecurity. All of this is the current situation in Pakistan and its surrounding regions. As we move forward, we can only wait and see how these stories unfold in the next few weeks. But the countdown to Field Marshal Asim Munir's retirement is real, and every day until then promises new developments, tensions and power plays. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.